Cinnamon, cinnamon, and cinnamon once again. What's up, 23% Nation? This is your man, Coach D. Today, I'm back with vegetable of the day, the one and only cinnamon. Now, a lot of you probably are already a little bit upset. Why? Because I just call cinnamon a vegetable. Well, maybe you think it's an herb, maybe you think it's a spice. Why? Because it's nice. Well, whatever the case may be, please listen and watch on why, because we're about to dive just a little deeper into the wonderful world of cinnamon. All right, first up, a little bit of background information. So what is cinnamon and where does it come from? Let's find out. Cinnamon is actually made from a type of tree, and the unique smell, color, and flavor of cinnamon is a result of the oily part of the tree that it grows from. Interesting. Take a look at the picture, ladies and gentlemen. We now know exactly where cinnamon comes from. Notice it comes from the bark of the tree, right? Meanwhile, the health benefits of cinnamon come from the bark of the tree itself. So there we have it, ladies and gentlemen. We now know exactly where cinnamon comes from. All right, more background information. There are many varieties of cinnamon available, but it's primarily found in two main types. We have cassia and we have Ceylon. Ceylon is thought to be more potent and contain more extensive health benefits, while cassia is cheaper to produce and more widely available. Now, let's take a look at the picture, ladies and gentlemen. As you can see, we have the two types, Ceylon and cassia, yes. Now, as far as the differences are concerned, there aren't too many differences, at least physically or visually, but there is a slight color difference. And if you look close enough, you can even notice that there is a slight difference in the thickness of the cinnamon sticks. That's right. So there we have it, guys. A little more background information about the one and only cinnamon. All right, now it's time for a few fun facts. Cinnamon has been harvested from the inner bark of trees in the Cinnamomum genus for thousands of years and dates back as far as 4,000 years ago to ancient Egypt. Nice. Cinnamon was considered a very valuable and rare spice at this time and was frequently sold at very high prices and given to royalty as gifts or signs of devotion. Interesting. Today, cinnamon as we know it is made by cutting the stems of the Cinnamomum tree and removing the inner bark, which curls up into cinnamon sticks. These sticks are then ground to make powdery cinnamon spice, which is sold and used across the world. So, take a look at the picture, ladies and gentlemen. As you can clearly see, there is your cinnamon stick, and some of it has been ground into the fine cinnamon powder that is so popular today. So, ladies and gentlemen, these are the fun facts. We now know that cinnamon is an ancient spice, and we also know it comes from the bark of the Cinnamomum tree. All right, more fun facts. Now, a lot of people may be wondering or arguing, is cinnamon an herb or is it a spice? Well, guys, let's find out. Herbs are the leaves of the plant, such as rosemary, sage, thyme, oregano, or cilantro. Spices, on the other hand, come from the non-leafy parts, including roots, bark, berries, flowers, seeds, and so on. So, as an example, cilantro leaves are an herb, while the seeds, known as coriander, are a spice. Now, let's take a look at the picture, ladies and gentlemen. Let's become a little more educated. Let's now clearly define the difference between an herb and a spice. So, based on the diagram, we can see that the herb is simply the leaves. That's it, guys. So when we talk about herbs, we're talking about leaves. When we talk about spices, well, we're talking about everything outside of the leaf, right? So we're talking about the flowers, the little berries, maybe even hard fruits. We're talking about the bark in the case of cinnamon. We're talking about the seeds, and we're also talking about the roots. So there we have it, guys. We now know officially that cinnamon is a spice, not an herb. Okay, now it's time for the not so fun facts. High doses of cinnamon may cause symptoms like difficulty breathing, mouth sores, low blood sugar, and liver problems. Oh no. Therefore, it's best to keep intake in moderation. Pair with a healthy diet and active lifestyle to maximize the potential health benefits. So, there we have it, guys. Unfortunately, cinnamon isn't all that it's cracked up to be, at least for some people. All right, now let's talk about the 520 rule. Ladies and gentlemen, 23% Nation, when we talk about the 520 rule, really what we're talking about are food labels. That's right, guys. The 520 rule helps us to read and understand food labels. Ultimately, it's a guide. It's a guide that lets us know whether or not a food or beverage item is a good source or not a good source of any particular nutrient. Now, it's a guide, okay? But now specifically when we talk about the 520 rule, we're talking about percent daily value, abbreviated percent DV. Now, let's take a look at our sample food label, shall we? Now, as you can see, it is divided into three main parts: purple, yellow, and blue. So let's take it part by part. First, let's discuss the purple portion, which is the percent daily value column. Now, as you can see, the percent DV is represented as a percentage. Basically, it's a scale as low as 0% to as high as 100%. Now, let's transition over to the yellow portion, which basically highlights a few nutrients such as saturated fat, trans fat, cholesterol, and sodium. Guys, here's what you need to know about these four nutrients. Unfortunately, they do the body a lot of harm. Why? Because they cause sickness, illness, and disease. So the next time you eat or drink something, you probably want to check the food label and see if their percent DVs are as close to 0% as possible. Next, let's talk about the blue nutrients, such as dietary fiber, vitamin A, vitamin C, calcium, and iron, which basically represent all vitamins and minerals. Now, these nutrients do just the opposite of the yellow nutrients. Rather than cause sickness, illness, and disease, they promote health. They promote wellness inside the body temple. So if anything, you want to make sure that the percent DVs for these nutrients are as close to 100% as possible. Now, what I'd like to do next is explain the 520 rule in more detail. Ladies and gentlemen, if a food or beverage item offers 0% to 9% DV of any particular nutrient, then that food or beverage item is not a good source of that particular nutrient. Next, if the food or beverage item offers 10% to 19% DV, then that food or beverage item is considered a good source of that particular nutrient. Lastly, if the food or beverage item offers 20% DV or more, then that food or beverage item is considered an excellent source of that particular nutrient. So there we have it, guys, the ins and outs about the 520 rule. All right, now let's dive into the nutrition facts of the one and only cinnamon. Now, for today's lecture, we're going to simply say that a single serving of cinnamon is equal to only a single tablespoon. That's right, guys. And notice it is ground cinnamon, not cinnamon sticks. So, in 1 tablespoon, we're only going to get 19 calories. We're going to get 6.2 grams of carbohydrates. Check this out, 0.3 grams of protein. Now, I know you may say, well, Coach D, that's a little bit, right? But it is something, yes. 0.1 grams of fat, and look at this, 4.1 grams of dietary fiber. Ladies and gentlemen, if you've been following Coach D for a while, you always know that I always highlight protein and fiber. Why? Because plant foods offer both. Unlike meat and animal products, well, they only offer you protein. So, ladies and gentlemen, if anybody ever asks you where you're going to get your protein from, just throw it right back at them and say, hey, where are you getting your fiber from? Now let's talk about the vitamins and minerals. Manganese comes in at a whopping 68% DV. Now, based on the 520 rule, this single serving of cinnamon is an excellent source of manganese. Next up is calcium coming in at only 8% DV, not a good source. Iron coming in at only 4% DV, not a good source. And lastly is vitamin K coming in at only 3% DV, not a good source. Now, I do understand that a lot of people may say, well, Coach D, a single serving of cinnamon is not a good source of calcium, iron, and vitamin K. And aren't they all very important to our health? Well, yeah, guys, you're absolutely right. But here's what you got to remember is that this is based on a single serving, which is only 1 tablespoon. So if you're all that concerned with calcium, iron, and vitamin K, just simply double up your servings or maybe even triple it. So there we have it, guys. We now know the nutrition facts about the one and only cinnamon. All right, now it's time to dive into the health benefits. But before we do, I want to quickly talk with you about the principle of cause and effect. Basically, the principle of cause and effect states that every cause has its effect and every effect has its cause. There really is no such thing as chance and or luck. In other words, everything happens for a reason. So now the question is, how does the principle of cause and effect apply to cinnamon and its health benefits? Well, guys, here's what we need to understand is that ultimately the health benefits are the effect, whereas the nutrients, or we can say the phytonutrients, or we can say the medicine that's inside the cinnamon, well, that's the cause. So if you want to be healthy, you got to cause it, right? So health benefit number 1, cinnamon is high in antioxidants. Amazing. So now the question is, which antioxidants, Coach D? Well, guys, say hello to polyphenols, phenolic acid, and flavonoids. Benefit number 2, relieves inflammation. Well, what's the cause? Well, say hello to the flavonoids. Number 3, protects heart health. Well, say hello to the antioxidants. Benefit number 4, stabilizes blood sugar. Once again, cinnamon has antioxidants. Those are the medicine foods. Benefit number 5, preserves brain function. So what's the cause? Well, it's the antioxidants. Number 6, may help lower cancer risk. Wow, that's amazing. So the question is, which medicines, which phytonutrients, what's the cause? Well, say hello to a few different compounds. Number 1, cinnamaldehyde. Number 2, cinnamic acid. And number 3, cinnamate. So there we have it, guys, the health benefits about the one and only cinnamon. Oh, look, more health benefits. Number 7, fights infections and viruses. Great. So what's the cause? Well, antimicrobial, antibiotic, antifungal, and antiviral properties. Number 8, optimizes oral hygiene. Well, what's the cause? Well, believe it or not, guys, cinnamon has essential oils. That's right. Benefit number 9, prevents candida, right? Now, a lot of people may be a little confused and we may be wondering what in the world is candida, right? Well, guys, basically it's a yeast infection. It's a yeast that grows inside the body, right? But you don't necessarily want this yeast growing too much, okay? So the question is, what causes this? What prevents the candida? Well, cinnamon has antifungal properties. Benefit number 10, benefits skin health. What's the cause? Well, it's antibiotic and antimicrobial properties. Benefit number 11, reduces allergy symptoms. Well, what's the cause? Well, cinnamon has anti-inflammation and antihistamine properties. Benefit number 12, sweetens up recipes without sugar. How nice is that? Well, what's the cause? Well, guys, I don't know if you've noticed, but cinnamon has a naturally sweet taste. That's right. And the last health benefit, number 13, it acts as a natural preservative. So the question is, what's the cause? Well, say hello to antioxidants and its antibacterial properties. So there we have it, guys. 13 amazing health benefits from the one and only cinnamon. All right, it's time to talk about food. Yes, plant foods. So I went to my normal website, forksofaknives.com, which is our go-to website for everything vegan, yes. And I found 2 vegan cinnamon recipes that I want to share with you right now. So the first one is, and my mouth is already watering, apple maple cinnamon rolls. Take a look at the picture. Looks delish. Wow, amazing. Now the second recipe is cinnamon oat waffles with sweet potato butter. Take a look at that picture. How nice is that? So guys, if you're like me and you love cinnamon rolls and you love cinnamon, you like waffles, you like sweet potatoes, then you probably want to click on the description box. That's right. Why? Because I'm providing a direct link to both of these recipes. Now, when you get to the website, you're going to find a lot of great information. You're going to find pictures, maybe videos, but more importantly, they're going to give you the cooking time, cooking instructions, and of course, an ingredient list. So there we have it, guys. Not one, but 2 delicious, nutritious cinnamon recipes from forksofaknives.com. All right, 23% Nation, I hear you. A lot of you say, well, Coach D, thanks for the recipes. Coach D, thanks for the fun facts and the not so fun facts and the nutrition facts. But what I really want to know is, when should I eat more cinnamon? Well, ladies and gentlemen, if that's your question, then the answer is Nature Day. That's right, guys. Nature Day is the day to eat more cinnamon. Now, a lot of people may be wondering, well, when is Nature Day? Well, let me answer that question. Guys, the Nature Day happens to be the first day of the 23% challenge. Now, maybe you've been living under a rock and you know absolutely nothing about a challenge. Well, here we go. The 23% challenge is a monthly 7-day wellness program that is designed to help improve your health, your wealth, and your relationships in only 7 days. Now, there are 2 things that we need to know about the challenge. Number 1, it's monthly, meaning every month, January to December, and it's only 7 days. As a matter of fact, it's the first 7 days of every single month. Now, being that Nature Day is the first day of the challenge, that simply means that Nature Day is the first day of every month. So, whether it's June 1st, September 1st, or even December 1st, it's always Nature Day. All right, so a lot of us may now want a little more information. And if you do, great, because I'm going to provide it. So you may be wondering, what is Nature Day all about, right? Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to get closer to nature. How? By eating more plants. That's right, guys. Nature Day is all about getting closer to nature by eating more plants, right? Now, I do understand that eating more plants can be difficult for others and easy for some. Now, for those that think it's difficult, well, let's talk about it. I believe in taking baby steps, right? So maybe you can eat only plants and drink only water before 12 p.m. That way, after 12 p.m., you can eat and drink whatever you want. Or you may want to eat only plants and drink only water after 12 p.m. That way, before 12 p.m., you can eat and drink whatever you want. Now, some of us may say, well, Coach D, 12 hours is not enough. I can do more. Well, for those of us who want to up the ante, try this. Try becoming a 3% vegan. Now, what is that? Well, that's any person, man, woman, or child, who only eats plant foods and drinks only water only 1 day out of an entire month. Next up is a 10% vegan. Now, that's any person, man, woman, or child, who only eats plant foods and drinks only water only 3 days out of an entire month. Next up is the 17% vegan. Now, that's any person who only eats plant foods and drinks only water only 5 days out of an entire month. And lastly is the ultimate 23% vegan. Now, technically, that's what Coach D considers himself to be. So then what does that mean? Well, it means that for the first 7 days of every month, I only eat from the 5 food groups of plant foods. Now, what are those? Here we go. Number 1 are fruits. Number 2, vegetables, herbs, and spices. Number 3, legumes, meaning beans and peas. Number 4, nuts and seeds. And number 5, let's not forget about whole grains. And yes, I only drink water. So there we have it, guys. We now know the ins and outs about Nature Day. All right. Now that we know when it is, now that we know what we're supposed to eat and do, now we need to discuss who is Nature Day for. I mean, after all, we are talking about drinking water. We are talking about eating more plants, right? So who needs to drink more water? Who needs to eat more plants? Well, guys, maybe you fall into some of these categories. Maybe you are experiencing physical health problems, such as the big 4, meaning heart disease, obesity, cancer, type 2 diabetes. Maybe you have skin issues like eczema, psoriasis, pimples, and acne. Maybe you have digestive issues such as irritable bowel syndrome, constipation, leaky gut syndrome. Maybe you have mental issues, right? Maybe you're depressed. Maybe you have ADHD. Maybe you're sad. Maybe you're bipolar. Maybe you're dealing with anger issues. Well, guys, eat more plants. Maybe you're looking to change the appearance of your body, right? So maybe you want to lose some weight, lose some inches. Then you may want to try our vegan lean program. Maybe you want to build muscle or tone and strengthen your muscles. Well, you may want to try our vegan bulk program. Or maybe you want to help out the environment. Maybe you want to help out good old planet Earth, right? So maybe you simply want to transition from the standard American diet to a more whole food, plant-based diet. Or maybe you just simply want to eat more plants. Why? Because you heard that they contain more nutrients. Well, it's absolutely true. So there we have it, guys. We now know exactly who Nature Day is for. All right, it's time for Coach D's tips. Guys, this is a little bit of help. This is a little bit of advice. Why? Because I want you to be successful on Nature Day. So, tip number 1, go to your local grocery store. Now, when you get there, you're going to go to 3 places. Number 1 is the produce section. Number 2 is the freezer aisle. And number 3 is the canned good aisle. Now, why am I going to go to those 3 places, you may ask? Well, the produce section, that's where you're going to find all of your fresh plant foods. The freezer aisle, that's where you're going to find all of your frozen plant foods. And the canned good aisle is where you're going to find all of your canned plant foods. Now, this brings up a good question. Coach D, what's best, fresh, frozen, or canned? Well, guys, if I got to answer that question, I'll put it to you this way. The most nutritious option is going to be fresh. The second is frozen. And I got to say that it's a very close second. Why? Because the nutritional content for fresh versus frozen is pretty much the same. And lastly, and I would say this is all the way last, is going to be the canned plant foods. Now, some people may say, well, Coach D, I only eat canned plant foods. Why? Because they're the cheapest. Well, guys, I understand that money can be a factor. However, here's what you need to know, is that whenever you can any food, plant foods in particular, they do lose a lot of their nutrients during the canning process. So not only are they losing nutrients, but they're also being added, a lot of toxins are being added to the canned preparation process as well. So unfortunately, you may end up eating more toxins than you do nutrients. So that's the primary reason why I put canned plant foods in dead last. Tip number 2, go visit the prepared dishes section of your local grocery store. So once you're done with the produce aisle, the freezer aisle, and the canned good aisle, walk on over to the prepared dishes section. Now, talk to the person behind the counter and ask them for a sample. Don't worry, it's free. And if you like it, make sure you get at least a pound, maybe 2 pounds, maybe even 3 pounds if you really, really, really like it, right? Tip number 3, go visit your local farmer's market. Now, I highly recommend this for those of us who must have organic plant foods, non-GMO plant foods, right? Why? Because farmers markets only cater to the non-GMO organic plant food market. So there you have it. And here's another benefit is that chances are the produce may be cheaper than the local grocery store. Why? Because it's grown locally. That's right. Tip number 4, go visit your local vegan restaurant. And don't just visit, eat it. Guys, here's one thing that we need to know about vegan restaurants is that they do a really good job at hiring vegan chefs who basically know exactly how to cook plant foods, but then they also know which plant foods to combine to yield the most nutritious, delicious dishes. And my last tip is to go visit your local vegan meal prep company. Or if you can't visit them, maybe give them a call, send them an email, reach out through them, through social media. And the reason why you want to do this is because a lot of people complain. I don't know how to cook plant foods. I don't want to cook plant foods. I don't know how to cook them, right? I don't have time. Well, guys, here's the solution. Give them a call, talk to them. Let them make the food, let them deliver the food, and guess what? You eat the food. Yes, it's just that simple. So there we have it, guys. 5 amazing tips from Coach D to help make your nature day successful. All right, it's time for our question of the day. This comes from yours truly and the rest of the 23% nation. We have inquiry minds, so we want to know, is cinnamon a vegetable, herb, or a spice? Now, I believe I covered this information earlier in the video, so hopefully you got it. Well, all you have to do now is write your answer in the comment box below. Well, guys, I want to thank you for watching. I definitely want to thank you for listening. As always, let's eat well, feel well, think well, do well, be well. This is your man, Coach D. Now, before I sign out, I got to ask you to please subscribe, share, comment, and like the video, especially if you love cinnamon. And don't forget to use our 3-word mantra. It's #EatMorePlants. As stated earlier, my name is Coach D. I'm signing out. Always remember to take care, God bless, and never, ever forget that Coach D loves you.